Everyone. We are three Black Pratt grads. I am Mark Skinner. I'm here with Kenneth Nelson and Greg Cleghorn. We all went to Pratt Institute many moons ago, and we have all been professional photographers at one point or another and continue to be. The topic today is basically a little bit of a retrospective, but it's also very new. We wanted to I wanted to review some videos. So I had the guys watch two videos from fellow YouTubers that I watch a lot. One is DP Review, which if you're a photo blogger or a photo YouTube viewer, you have probably watched DP Review or one or two at least. And then there's also the Photographic Eye, and there's the host there. He concentrates more on the artistic side of photography. And I wanted to use the most recent reviews. And at the time of this recording, it's just past the new year, as you can see by Greg's
Happy New Year!
blinking hat. All right, he's got his blinking hat.
It's blinking.
And I wanted you to find out from you guys what you thought about these two videos and the state of YouTube videos and how photography is being related or being presented. And we did a little bit of this last year in the last episode when we talked about Ken's issue, which was learning to be bad. But without sort of putting that spin on it, I just wanted to get a sense of how you guys felt about some of the more popular video blogs that are going on.
Okay.
Are you opening up the forum for that?
Sure, I'll start. Now, as I already mentioned, I watch DP Review quite a bit. As Greg has implied a lot, I'm not so much a gearhead as much as I'm a guy who likes to find out and always know what the current gear is. I mean, I don't buy a lot of equipment, but I always like to kind of know what is.
But you're a gearhead. Watch out. You're going to get struck by lightning. What do you mean you're not into gear?
I have obsolete, and just how many years I can get away with obsolete gear before I have to buy new equipment.
All right.
With the
All
Photographic
right. So we're going to have that conversation. Okay.
Well, there you go. And then the Photographic Eye is one that we discovered along with The Art of Photography, which has got one of the best names. These two gentlemen, they both talk about the art of photography, but I didn't want to talk about the art of photography just yet because the Photographic Eye, that host tends to stay away from equipment more and really concentrates on what you need to do to be a better photographer, and sometimes his gripes about, things that other photographers say. Now, personally, the one video that I thought was really interesting, which was like today, which was what the S5 means for the future of Panasonic. Now, it's interesting because when we started, Panasonic was not a camera company. It was everyone had either a Technics turntable or Panasonic thruster speakers, but nobody would have thought of Panasonic as a camera maker. And they're one of the big ones. And they've even partnered with Leica for the
lenses,
L2. I'm sorry, and then there's the L mount. I mean, they've really, they're really much bound to Leica technology. And if you buy a Leica camera, if you buy a Panasonic camera, you'll have Leica optics on it. And if you buy a Leica camera, you'll have a lot of Panasonic electronics in it in many instances. And what's really nice is that these two companies have found a way to, work out whatever their separate branding is. But I thought it was interesting because as a photographer who's been through analog and on the way all the way to digital, who does not necessarily think of Panasonic per se as a camera company, it's interesting to see a title, what a specific model of that company means for the future of this company. And those who've been following what Panasonic's been going through, they've been discontinuing a lot of units at the same time. So the other one is Truths, which was about 2 weeks ago, I think it was posted by the Photographic Eye. Truths in photography that no one wants to talk about.
Wait. Before we go through, I mean, that guy said a lot. He was saying, he was kind of slamming or dissing the photographic community, saying that it's a snippy, kind of a little bit petty critiquing audience, because instead of giving you positive feedback, they snipe at what you did wrong in the photograph.
Right. You're talking about the photographic guy, and I'm going to let you continue, but because I was going to say that. But go ahead.
No, I was just curious as to um, his point of view, and I don't know. I agreed with some of what he said, and then I disagreed with something else. But that's a normal, I guess. Go ahead.
No, that's really what I want to find. Well, you guys thought, because I thought the photographic, I agree with you. There's some things I agreed with, a lot of it I did, and I thought it was interesting because as you watch YouTubers, if you're, and I'm sure we've done it too, if you watch different stories, you'll find the different blogs, you'll find at a certain point, the photographer always kind of expresses a certain amount of snippiness, about some
Other
aspect of
people,
about the either other photographers or a company or the state of photography in that particular day. And so I think it's really interesting to see the personalities of these people, but and how they perceive things should be. But I thought it was interesting because he said, well, you can watch videos about what people think they know, and then like he'd said, and I can teach you. He immediately went into what he could teach you, and I thought it was very interesting that it
he
was a
started
nice,
selling his
clever
book.
way of saying, well, it wasn't his book; it was his classes. And he seems like a good teacher. I mean, he's had a number of videos that are very informative, and I've learned things from watching. So I don't criticize him for that, but I just thought it was interesting that it seems like the sales aspect of photography seems to be the lion's share of what is going on in the YouTube space.
Yeah, people want to make money. Why not? I mean, it's nice to talk about photography, but I mean, what's the point of even investing in all the gear if you're not going to get some kind of return on it? A lot of people want to know how to take better pictures so they can, either have a side hustle or, jump into it as a full-time hustle. And they want to know the pitfalls, they want to know, like he was talking about um, gear, it's like there's certain things you can't do without a certain lens or a good lens or a fast lens or, telephoto. There's certain things that you can't do without the proper gear as far as a camera that's capable of doing certain things. And that's prime. But he also went into, the creative side of photography, which I think is primary. I've seen terrible work with a very expensive camera, and I've seen great work with a freaking Pentax K1000. So some of it is the mechanical, technical, part of it that we learn, but a lot of it for the good photographers is just having a creative mind and a creative eye and being able to capture or create and then capture. That
Right,
I
but
think is huge.
I agree with you. But when you talk about Pentax K1000, you're talking about a time when the image was rendered with the same medium all the way through, and it was the mechanics
Huh?
surrounding that sensor. If you think of the film and the sensor as the light sensitive material inside the camera, the Pentax
Okay.
K1000, that used the same 35 millimeter film as a Nikon, a Canon, or a Leica. I mean, there was no
Right.
difference in the film. So it was really just about minor differences in the sharpness of the lens that maybe one would see in a print or a slide, or color, a little bit more color accuracy. But otherwise, you were dealing with the same medium. Now, the sensors, even though a lot of them have the same sensor, there's different sizes of sensors and there's different ages of sensors. And everyone's got their own algorithm. I mean, what do you think? What do you think of that? The idea that there's just one camera that could determine the future of a company because of the technological advances in the other video that we watched.
Well, I mean, if because people are doing so much more with these cameras that are advancing technically that it's wonderful. I mean, and I'm sold on iPhone. Okay, I can do a lot with it. I enjoy it because it's always in my pocket. But he mentioned they mentioned that the focus tracking was better, because a lot of people are doing their own, blogs or vlogs or, YouTube stuff. And if they're moving, you know, I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and the content was good, but the camera, like here, the camera decided where the focus was and it was out of focus, you know. But that focus tracking is an advance. And if that is the big thing for them, then hey, so be it. But it's the electronics. If the electronics can do all the whiz bang stuff, you can't stop progress. But it's gonna, all of that is going to, I won't say leach in, but it's gonna sister in and tag on to, standard photography, and hopefully, make it better. It'll open up creative doors for the photographer that weren't open before. And I think that's a good thing.
Kenneth, you haven't said anything. What do you think about
He's
these two
loading up.
videos?
He's loading up.
No, I'm just
Ken's like, I don't care.
in
I don't
terms
really
of digital photography reviews conversation about the S5 II. I felt like a fish out of water because there was a lot
Oh,
of technical jargon that even went over
about the
my head,
camera. Yeah.
and I was like, "What the hell are these two guys talking about?" And
Hmm.
and they said it with such speed that I was like, I'm not even going to continue to listen to the jargon. So it really didn't matter to me what they were talking about, because my approach was, because they spent a lot of time on phase detection, focusing, and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. And then they started to talk about the comparisons between what they can use on the lenses. And I was like, oh my God, this is just two guys talking shop, and I couldn't
Hmm.
take it. I could barely get through it, and I just wanted to hurry up and finish,
Okay.
because then I wasn't interested in the camera anymore. I was not.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
So
They
so
kind of.
so I guess the big gripe is that the photo camera reviews have a tendency to talk about the potential to take photography rather than photography.
well, DP review
Let's take
usually when they do an individual camera review, they're pretty good because he's Nichols is pretty good and spot on about just being talking in lay terms. But in this particular video, they were just way talking about, and of course the videographer is there, so his take is on video portion, and Nichols' point is on the camera and focusing, and he didn't talk much about resolution about the camera, which was sort of more important to me. And they were just then comparing about and going through a couple of different cameras and what the best parts of those cameras were. And I was like, okay. But I really wasn't interested, and in the end result, I really wasn't interested in anything they had to say in that particular video.
So it was
Wow.
the granularity of the conversation and a lot of the video information. So the question I have
Did
is
you
like when
say
you have
regularity or gregularity? What was that? Oh,
granularity,
oh, oh. I
yeah,
think you said
very granular,
gregularity. I don't know.
a very
I don't know if that was a
granular
compliment or
view,
a slam.
but
I don't know.
well, I mean, it talks about everything that's in every menu, right? I mean, they talk about the things that are new and improved, and it's all about the equipment and its capabilities. And I think someone like there are other companies like Hasselblad's made a decision to not include video in their newest camera, and for just that point, so that they can appeal to more people who are strictly photographically minded rather than video minded, with photography being uh, an additional feature of a video camera.
Yeah, but that's,
You know,
Hasselblad has always been the, it used to be years ago, it used to be, Nikon. If you were a serious photographer, you had to have a Nikon. Nikon. It's good, no doubt. Same thing with
right?
Hasselblad.
But if you were
And
a pro, you had to have a
they
medium
know their
format,
they know their
and it was usually a
clientele, and
Hasselblad.
most of the people that they sell to don't really care much about, these videos. So I mean, why would they cater to something that's trendy for the little people who can't afford a Hasselblad? But yeah,
Right?
that's Hasselblad.
But I
It was
think that
always
touches
one.
on something. I think that touches on something that Alex from the Photographic Eye was getting at. Was, you know, there are all these people who are kind of new to photography who are pretty much being introduced with gear that it has so much capability, including video, or very much so. And so their perspective on photography as an art in and of itself isn't as, for lack of a better way of putting it, sophisticated as his, or say ours, as we believe ours is.
There are a lot of people that have YouTube channels that are making bank, as they say. You know, they're paying for houses and cars, you know, just being on YouTube. So now, you know, the game has changed. Just like when brownies came out, you know, 100 years ago, it changed the game when you know, nothing but professional photographers had, you know, cameras, or, you know, could do a glass negative or whatever.
Right.
And then
And
the
that's a
brownie
good
came along, and just the general Joe had a camera that could, you know, take decent pictures.
right.
What's the
So
difference?
so basically you're saying the aperture ring was a really good YouTube, in-depth YouTube deep dive into creating the aperture ring for you know, for a camera when he started with a brownie. Yeah.
Huh? Okay. Did you
That'd be
get
a
that,
deep
Ken? I
dive
didn't
technical.
understand.
Like what's new? An aperture ring would be a new technology for a brownie.
Mark, I'm not sure what you're getting at.
I'm talking
Oh,
about the
never mind. Oh,
masses.
basically what I was saying was that if the YouTube world existed when the brownie camera existed, just the inclusion of an aperture ring would be a new technology. So that they'd have reviewers reviewing cameras
Yes.
because they had aperture rings as opposed to a fixed focus, fixed aperture, instant camera.
Rangefinder.
Right, but I think yeah, but that was a different time, and I don't. If we were back in that time, information traveled by paper, which was much slower. Information was not given to everybody, and not everyone had the opportunity to just, you know, everyone didn't. Well,
But
people
that
shared the
was
paper, but everybody read the different sections, you know.
but
So
that, and the camera itself changed the game. When it was put in the masses' hands, you know, it's just like, you know, the automobile. It's like, oh, you know, even now, oh man, even now, you know, these cars, you know, they were mass produced and it changed the game. Now people could get in back and all of that, you know. But
Yeah,
you know, in the cars
what
now, they have their own, you know, web, you know, their own internet signal. So I mean, as it progresses, I mean, why wouldn't it go to cameras? You know, and cameras are smart now. They've been programming, you know, the electronics for cameras for, you know, decades now. So not one of the things that separated Nikon from the others was that their exposure programs were really good. You could just grab the camera off the shelf, put the money in the, you know, in B&H's hands or something. Yeah, sponsor us, B&H, and in pictures. So, uh-oh.
no, you're still there. You've frozen, but we can
Oh
hear you.
man. Uh-oh.
Greg, we got you. Go ahead.
No, that's it. Can you hear me? Check one, check
We can
two.
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll go back and come back in. You guys sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Hold on.
Okay, that typical technique. Okay. Um, yeah. So my take on the photographer's eye.
Are
Uh,
you there?
yeah,
Can you
Greg.
see me?
Can't see you.
Yeah,
There you go.
Man,
there you go.
hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay. Um,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. My take
I'll be right back.
on the photographer's eye video was, it was kind of
I'll
interesting
be right
because
back. Go.
it had basically, I think, maybe two or three different sections. The introduction was about anyone can really do photography. Photography is very easy, and most professional photographers would tell other people that it's really hard, right? And you know, I was going along with the program, and then he talks about how you don't need to know much to know photography. Then he talks about the different types of lenses you need to use to do specific things. And I'm like, well, you need to know more about photography than the basics to use these different lenses and the certain applications and what you're going to use them for. So you've sort of crisscross yourself in his analysis, because in one time he's saying it's easy, and then unless you know about the technical differences between the lenses and what they're most applicable for, you need to know more than just the basics, and you just need to know more than 1 hour of photography in order to understand that. And then he talks about the older generation of photographers who are curmudgeons, who don't want to share their information or don't like to share their information because they want proprietary control over it and don't want anyone else to know about it or listen to it or to benefit from their knowledge. And I'm like, well, I don't subscribe to that. I don't think that's true in 100% of the market. I think for every 100 people, 100 great photographers who are out there, I think maybe one or two will be of that type. I think the others will not be.
Well,
So
I don't know. I don't know, Ken. I mean, I think when we were younger, we found that it was very difficult to get information. The internet has provided a tremendous amount, but I think between school and then when we were working in the commercial studio, and then when you do your own work, there's a lot more information that could have been given to you at an earlier stage that you just had to find out because you had to be in the place where it was. And I think it worked for a lot of people because it kept them working and it kept everyone from, flooding the market with photographers. But at the same time, as Alex mentioned, all of a sudden, there's a lot of people who don't know what should be. And so there's an entire generation who are just doing whatever they want. And he seems to be, in this video, he seems to be a little bit perturbed about it.
Well, and I also want to make the mention that as I was watching that video, it harkened back to our conversations about learning to be bad. Uh, okay, because there was some references he made to, just learning by internet. You know, there's
Mhm.
advantages to it because you got the smorgasbord of things out there, and if you
Right,
can pick and choose what you learn,
right.
but I think you can learn technical. I
Mhm.
don't know if you can learn aesthetics.
That's
Well,
one of my biggest concerns because the cameras, in a way, they're so deceptively easy now that people, like Mark was saying before, people don't respect photographers, the people that are really good at it. And they think, oh, if I get that camera, I could do the same thing. But then they run into the aesthetics of it, where you're adding light with a strobe, portable strobe, and they're like, geez, what? I'm outdoors. I don't need a light. Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that these deceptively smart, they're not deceptive. The cameras are smart. They do what they do well. But again, this thing right here between the ears is the thing that makes the difference. Hands down, the whole idea of I won't say creative photography, but some people just have an eye. They can capture things that regular Joes don't see. So I'm a big uh, supporter of creative eye, and like you said, the aesthetics. You know
Yep.
that's important to me.
Yep. Just calling on time. We got about 7 minutes.
Okay.
okay. Well, I mean, if you guys don't have any more to say, can, I can stop this right now.
Um.
Well,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
you got anything else, Ken?
Okay.
No, I don't.
Well, I
All
wanted to
right.
say one more thing about that
Sure.
review, or about um, that camera that they were reviewing on that one video. And I don't think I think they might have been overly dramatic, saying that that's the future of Panasonic and la, 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 But uh, I do like Apple and Apple products. Their next generation cameras are coming out with like a 48 megapixel sensor. Just putting it out there. it's not just a cell phone anymore. Oh my God, they have a cinematic mode on this generation of cell phones that track the focus. You can
Yeah.
see the square, so they're already ahead of the game. Apple
Yeah.
has always been ahead of the game. I'm waiting for Apple to come out with a camera that I would buy.
Well,
Okay.
you
So
go. I think that's a new. Oh, go ahead, Ken. Good.
yeah, I just wanted to make it a point that I think that's true. Well, what I wanted to get across, because you brought up the iPhone and
Uh,
I forgot what they call it, the learning that it does, the
that the camera does.
computational learning that it
Uh-huh,
does,
uh-huh.
and its
Yeah,
ability to make adjustments to your images, such as a
yeah.
portrait mode. And what it'll
Right.
do, it'll drop the background out and create
Uh-huh,
a
uh-huh.
great drop shadow and
These
things of that
cameras,
nature.
these phones are
I
amazing.
think what that does is that, of course, it's a crutch, that
Mm,
if you have no aspirations for photography, you're fine.
right, right.
But if you want to learn anything, and that's not going to teach you much, unless
Well,
there's a text message or a text to assist you with what it's doing to give you an idea of how it works.
uh,
Without it, you're
well,
just going to go with what it does.
well. One of the pluses about Apple is that you can go into any Apple store or go online, apple.com, and sign up for classes. They will teach you anything and everything about every freaking app on your phone. Well, at least the ones that they put out. So if you want to learn
Well,
about
I
the
mean,
phone, go into the Apple store. They'll
Right,
teach you.
but they'll tell you
and
how
I
to
think,
operate the phone, but they won't actually tell you what the phone is actually doing to create that look.
They have
well,
technical guys
that's
that
why they
that
have
go into that.
reviews. That's what I have
Uh,
reviews. If you get to the right reviewer, they'll tell you the computations that are done to create an image and how
right.
how to filter on it and so forth. I guess what you're getting at is yeah, Greg, the idea that, well, do you even need a camera? Is kind of
No,
what
no,
you're
that's
alluding
not what
to.
I'm saying at all. No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Well,
I'm
because
saying,
you're saying that the iPhone is an incredibly creative tool, and it is, and it
okay,
is one that is used for photography, and it certainly did,
and
sort of
video
wedge its way into the national zeitgeist by being this photographic tool in your pocket. But
and
the question I
cinematic
have,
tool.
and a cinematic
You
tool,
can shoot
right? I
4K
mean,
on a cell phone. That's awesome. Good.
oh, well, I mean, it's drones, phones, and doorbells, right? Those are the three items that have kind of replaced a good amount of professional photo and video work that used to be. You see these old movies where they say, "Get a photographer over there," and don't need that anymore. So it's
Yeah.
an,
Now
it's
the
an
reporters
interest.
have a camera that'll take, you know, usable photojournalistic images. That's all I
So
got to say.
I guess,
I just say keep
all right,
shooting. Learn your equipment, whether you're shooting iPhone or 35. Learn it. Learn aesthetics.
you're right,
Look at
right.
the
Tell me about
classic
it.
photographers and get out there and shoot. You could get all these
Yeah,
technical reviews and blah blah blah, but there's no replacement for experience. Get out there and shoot.
and I got to say before you say something, Ken, is that the guys at DP Review do a fantastic job of reviewing cameras. It wasn't to malign them. It was really questioning about the idea that one camera can determine the future of one company. Is that a truism, or is it just, hey, they got to say some,
Just
right?
talk. Just talk. That's a big statement. Just
And
one. Panasonic is a giant in the field, and one innovation is not going to make or break Panasonic. I'm sorry.
well, we don't know. I mean, it seems like, as you mentioned, the iPhone is a major contender for a lot of photographic companies. So we'll see what happens. Everybody's vying for the top spot. We haven't even mentioned Fujifilm or Sony in this conversation. So anyway,
Well, Sony's a
Ken,
powerhouse
Ken,
too.
your final
You know.
statement. And I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, my final statement is for those who are learning by social media, get a second opinion, get a third opinion, get a fourth opinion, get a fifth opinion, get as many opinions as you want to or as you can. Just don't get one, get multiples.
Okay, and get out there and shoot.
Yeah.
In the new year.
Indeed.
Shoot.
It's a new year. Get new images. I agree.
That's right. I'm with you.
All righty. All right. I am Mark Skinner. I've been here with my good friends Kenneth Nelson and Greg Cleghorn. We are three Black Pratt grads. We're not the only ones, but we are three of them. And just want to say we talk about photography, and we hope you have a fantastic year taking images that you enjoy. Profitable.
And
Good
share.
evening.